It's the NAMM Show 2017. You're stuck here with us. It's raining outside. You have nowhere to go. But you didn't bring any money and you can't buy any gear. That's okay, because we're giving away free software right here at the McDSP booth. But first, you have to get the spiel. That's right. What's new at our booth? The EC300 Echo Collection. Echo, 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 echo. What is it? Magnetic, digital, and analog delays, all in one plugin. All the different styles you want, all the features you need, all that stuff. In one plugin, McDSP, coming out in March. Okay, I'm done. Why are you really here? Well, besides the free stuff we'll be giving away at the end of our presentation, you want to meet somebody famous and hear him tell you how he got to what he does now for a day job. We got Michael Brauer. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Michael Brauer. Bam. Okay. So, Mr. Brauer, people really want to know, how did you get started? What did you do to deserve to mix music for a living every day?
I don't know.
I think you might have played in some bands, and maybe you weren't sure if you were good enough to do it, so you started to mix records.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true.
What instruments did you play?
I was a drummer.
Drummer.
As everyone here was once a drummer. Everybody was a drummer.
How'd you start mixing tracks, though?
Well, I was the drummer and the sound man. So I was also doing, on shows, thank you. I was actually doing the sound with my left hand, you know, balancing the sound, because I was the sound guy and the drummer. That's how that started. And I was recording. I had a little cassette player.
And that was all in New York, right?
No, that was in the Midwest.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Ohio.
Wow. That's okay. Some of us are also from the Midwest, so it's okay.
Yeah.
What have you been working on recently?
A couple new bands. One, she went solo. She was in a band with Gossip. Her name is Beth Ditto. Really, really cool stuff. Jen DeSilvio is producing. And then one before that is Low Moon. Really, really cool stuff. Great melodies. Based in California, LA.
Now, where you work at in New York City, it's kind of a pretty famous studio, would you say?
Electric Lady Studios.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And who's heard of that place? Raise your hand. Everyone raise your hand. Good job.
Two hands, two hands.
How'd you get a gig there?
Well, I decided to move there. I was at another studio called Quad for many, many years. And that kind of went under. Or at least it appeared that it was going to. So I left. And I found a room at Electric Lady in the back. It was awesome. And the manager, now part owner, Lee Foster, was amazing. And that's the basic reason why I moved there. And it sounded great and felt comfortable. It was like home.
What other tracks have you done out of there that you'd think some people might recognize?
Elle King, John Mayer, Coldplay.
Name drop. It's okay, Michael. This is the time to name drop. Just do it. Just ka-chung, 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 ka-chung.
You know, and thousands of other really, really cool records.
Okay, we get that. So the man knows his stuff. Now, something else you're known for is parallel compression. You're kind of good at it, I hear.
Yeah, it's a variation of that. It really starts off more as multi-bus compression.
Okay. Care to elaborate?
Can I? Let's see.
Without giving away the secrets, you know.
Yeah, there's no secrets. It's all written. It's out there. I talk about it. It's basically changing the approach. Instead of mixing in pre-compression, where everything is kind of compressed first and then you put it out there, everything is in post-compression. So until you push the faders into the compressors, there's nothing going on. And if you push too hard, there's nothing going on. But once you find that nice little sweet spot, you get a lot of interplay between the music and the compressors. So it becomes a very musical approach. Very dynamic, emotional, and I like it.
Do you find it hard to set that up quickly for clients, or over the years have you gotten good enough at it you can do it quickly enough to keep it going?
Yeah. I mean, you know, the original setup is a bit complicated, but then you don't touch it anymore.
Okay.
And it's just off and running.
Do you have any favorite pieces of outboard gear you like to use?
Outboard. Well, of course, the distressors. I have, I don't know, 5 of them, and Fatsos, and I don't know, whatever things he makes. I go, hey, Dave, remember me? Can I have one of those? And the Pendulum ES8, I love, and the Avalon that Wind makes. And then the original thing that I started with is Neve 33609 and the Pultex. That's what I started with. I still have that. And then the EAR compressors and the AWA compressors and this compressor and that compressor. I have a whole lot of compressors.
Yes, we are aware.
And then, yeah, so for hardware, those are my favorite.
Okay. How about in software?
Well, software, it's so funny that you should mention that we're here, because you're McDSP, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah, because I actually have compressors that I really like here that I use here.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good segue, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, don't ask me what they're called.
That's okay.
What are they called?
I think you might like the ML4000.
I do like the ML4000. That's specifically the one that I was thinking of.
I think you like it because as you sort of noodle with it and found a preset that you liked, you sort of would stick with it. Like, this is a good sound preset, and then you could adjust it for additional clients.
Exactly.
Okay. Try. You made a video and I watched it a couple times.
Yeah.
Maybe I memorized it.
No, I think what's cool is that particular one is a great tool. There's been so many times when I've got a bass that some of the lower notes disappear, and it's a song. The song is just driving. Now I can compress that whole thing, but there's still a couple of notes that just happen to, just are missing. Now it's easy when there's one that bounces and hits you in the head with it, because you can just kind of compress that one down with a multi-band compressor, go down. But I'm always like, I don't want it to go down. I want it to go up. And I'm like, what do I do? And that particular day when you came in, I was like, I like your stuff, but I really want something to go the opposite, because my problem is certain, like on acoustic guitars, where there's notes that just disappear. Alone you can hear everything, but obviously with the context of a record, important notes as they're going, I was like, why, what happened? And if you try to EQ it, everybody gets affected. So it's a bit annoying. And with the 4000, you just find where it is, and then you, instead of compressing down, you take that little lever and you go up, and now when it finds that area, it just bumps it up only when you're in that note area, and then it leaves it alone again, which I was like, thank you. That's it. I'm done. Because it just takes care of the problem quickly, and you don't have to have 3 or 4 pieces of gear to try and fix this little problem. So, and in the bass, it's awesome with the bass, because the same thing. There's a lot of times you got, it's not a problem when a note bounces out at you, but it is a problem when really that line is a driving line and there's one note that just keeps disappearing. And to find that and just say when it gets in that area, bump it up 4 dB. It's cool.
Yeah, and I think you've also done some of what you're describing with our active equalizer stuff too, like the AE400 and maybe the AE600. That's very new.
Right, because that's exactly what I've been talking about, is the 400, not the 4000.
That's my bad. I'm fired.
The 4000, yes, multi-band. I'm talking about this EQ. Sorry. I missed 1-0.
That was on me, and that's me. My bad.
No, but the 4000 is also fun. The first time I heard that, it was already on a vocal, it was on an insert. And I'm like, what is this thing? And I actually already had your plug-in, but there's like hundreds of them. How do you know them all? So I'm listening, I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. I was like, what it sounds like when I take it out. I was like, oh. I was like, oh my God. Put it back in. I was like, I'm going to save this preset. I was like, this really, really corrected a lot of things all in one handy dandy little package.
That's the idea.
And since then, I've used that particular preset like on dozens of vocals. It just, sometimes the vocal's just feeling a little flat, little uninteresting. You put this in, it just wakes it up. I mean, and you can play with it between the bands, so it's really great. But I found it to be, again, a really great tool for when you're given a track that lacks life or lacks something in there. Pop that baby in, within like 10 seconds, you got yourself, it's so easy.
So easy to be just like Michael Brauer. I can't believe that, but I'll try it later.
It is easy. It's just hit the right button.
Does anyone have any questions for Michael? He's here. He knows everything. He could help you with your mix right now.
Come on, Dave. You got a question?
Oh, okay. Dave Durr, everybody.
Basically, when you boost up, when you want to pick a note out, it's like an expander, right? It's like an expander mode as opposed to a compressor?
Yeah.
It has a
but
threshold.
Generally expander for me means it's almost, expanders that I used to play with were more like gates. But yeah, it's the opposite of bringing the level down. It finds where the problem is, where there is no level, and brings the level up.
Well, so what Michael is talking about, back to the AE400 or the AE600, it's an active EQ, there's a threshold. He's looking for that note. There's ding, 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 and then the one note that drops away. He finds that frequency with that note, he finds the threshold he wants, and then he boosts it up only that couple of dB. But it's only gonna happen when the threshold requirement is met. So he's playing along, drops below the threshold, he can boost it back up, and then he's out. It's almost like punching in and punching out or automated EQ.
Right, so I'm not bumping the EQ up. It's just I'm bumping the compression up, so when it finds it, when it threshold triggers that area, it gives me volume.
Frequency dependent expansion, sure. That sounds cool.
Sure, that
you
sounds
invented
good.
it, man.
Yeah, I would go with that. It sounds very intelligent.
We call it like the Brauer curve or something. That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's a Brauer curve.
Dude.
I came up with it.
Nice. Hey, you heard it here first, everybody. The Brauer curve.
Yeah. Use it.
Use it. Make it into a button.
It's going to be sold very soon as a Brauer button preset.
I like it. Okay. Any other questions for Michael? Yes, no. We got one.
You work here.
The last time we spoke, you had talked about a kind of like a co-mixing collaboration with someone.
I still can't talk about that yet.
Okay.
All right. Alrighty then. Are you sure there's no more questions? Michael Brauer, we're talking about someone who's mixed bands like, name drop some here. We got Coldplay, we got, come on, John Mayer. You're so like resistant to like do it. Like, come on, just
James Brown.
Thank you. Keep
Aretha
going.
Franklin.
Keep going. It's okay.
Luther Vandross.
There you go. Yeah, okay, I know. Everyone close your mouths back up, stop drooling. Okay, it's good, it's good. That was impressive, yes. Well, one more from the techie guy.
No. I don't remember doing that.
Oh.
Well, that was my early version of taking an SSL 4000 and turning it into a 6000. So I had 3 sub-stereos. That's how this whole thing started.
Okay.
But it was just another port. I went from a front and a back of buses to taking the front into one, the back into 2, the second one, and then finding 2 buses into a third one. Now I have ABC.
ABC. That's also the ABC curve. B is for Brauer, and A is for analog, and C is for curve.
Yeah,
Dude,
curve.
we're coming up with it. Okay, well, if there are no more questions, we're going to give away some plugins, and Michael's going to do the drawing. So does everyone have a ticket from Matt? No ticket, no plugin. Oh, sure, give one to Dave Durr. He doesn't need a plugin. He can make his own. Okay, thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Everybody, before we forget, let's give it up for Michael Brauer.